Chapter 4, Saving American Education from the Radical Leftist. Our schools and universities have become totally infested with Marxist maniacs and so-called DEI bureaucrats who teach our children to be anti-American, anti-white, and anti-men, in short, anti-me. We are spending more per student than any other country in the world, but we are dead last on every list on education. It's a total disgrace. Our children should be winning at education, not losing. But when I'm back in the White House, it's going to change, people, and it's going to change fast. Blacklisting all pink-haired Marxists. On day one, I am going to start removing all the pink-haired Marxists and crazy radical leftists and other zealots who have infiltrated the Department of Education. You know who you are. They have completely destroyed our children's minds with their poisonous teachings on communism and critical race theory. Instead of teaching our kids how to read and do math, they are teaching them how to become Marxist activists and that math is racist. I will establish a Bureau of Un-American Activities that will investigate all civil servants, teachers, and other bureaucrats. Everyone suspected of radical leftist leanings will be put on a blacklist, and everyone on this list will never work for the government ever again. Flushing out bad schools. I will also open a massive civil rights investigation into any and all school districts that have engaged in any form of race-based discrimination, especially against white Americans, but also against Asian Americans and perhaps even against Jewish Americans. I will cut all funding to any school district that has engaged in such discrimination until they start discriminating the proper way again. The same goes for schools preaching Marxism and/or communism and/or socialism. Note to self, ask Tucker to explain the difference. These teachings are totally hostile to our Judeo-Christian heritage, which is the only heritage our children should be indoctrinated with. I will also cut all federal funding to colleges and universities that persist in teaching radical leftist ideology and unlawful inappropriate discrimination through diversity, equity, and diversity rules that hurt white and Asian and Jewish students. Furthermore, I will tax their endowment and sign a decree that allows me to fine them up to the entire amount of their endowment if they persist in their left-wing and/or discriminatory practices. The money from these taxes and fines will be used to fund re-education camps to unbrainwash all the Marxist radicals, anti-racists, climate activists, and other subversive feminists that are poisoning our great nation. Won't let that happen anymore. Patriotism, not leftism. Protecting our students begins with selecting the right teachers. That's why every citizen applying for a teaching position will be required to apply for a patriotic certificate from the National Board of Education. Before receiving the certificate, a teacher has to swear allegiance to the United States and its great patriotic leader, i.e. me. They also need to pass a patriotic test designed to root out any and all radical leftists trying to slither their way back into our classrooms. Won't let that happen. With all the Marxist and leftist activists purged from our schools and having totally bankrupted all schools that keep discriminating against our people, I'm looking at you Harvard, Columbia, Yale, Stanford, and MIT, and all the other top schools in the country. We can finally begin indoctrinating our kids with the right kind of ideologies again. We will completely scrap the current leftist curriculum and introduce the Trump curriculum, which will be big, bold, and beautiful. Our schools will become incubators of success and bastions of the right kind of freedom. At the heart of it all will be the Trumpian philosophy of winning, greatness, and unmatched brilliance. American education is going to be so great you'll get tired of learning. Every school day will start with the swearing of allegiance to me and the nation. After this, there will be a reading from the best words, a collection of my greatest quotations, which every student will get for free, paid for by the state. Little nuggets of wisdom like it is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep. If you go after me, I'm coming after you. And the classic, I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, will be studied at length so that students can learn from me and follow my example. Finally, all the students will sing the national anthem while facing my presidential portrait, which will hang in every classroom. Then it's time for second period. Making education great again. Our students will learn to love America again. Instead of political activists teaching our children a totally fake version of American history filled with nonsense about racism and cultural appropriation, Wholesome teachers with normal hairstyles and dressed in appropriate clothing will teach our students about the glories of Western civilization and the most virtuous, most prosperous, freest, best great supernation in the history of all the worlds, America. In economics, we are going to focus on real-world skills like braggadocio negotiation, leveraged buyouts, and tax manipulation. The main textbook for this will, of course, be The Art of the Deal, the world's greatest book together with the Bible, which will also be provided free to all students and also be paid for by the state. Science is also going to be totally fabulous. Again, not just normally great, but tremendous. Same for math, which is going to be the way it was back when Asians and white people were the only ones who understood it. In conclusion, we are going to make America smart again. We are going to weed out all the DEI and deep state bureaucrats and fake radical leftist teachers who are poisoning our children with anti-American and anti-white rhetoric. Our children will learn to love America again and benefit from the Trump wisdom so that they will all grow up to become respectable deal makers and tax manipulators. Please support my candidacy for president by buying the America I deserve at no good tax dodging, U.S. Postal Service leeching Amazon. Help make the America I Deserve the most popular book on Amazon. Let's show the American people the real Donald Trump.